Let's rock and roll.
Okay,
So
five, four,
wait a minute.
three, two.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome to the Big Announcement Coming Soon podcast. I'm Michael Bull, hanging out with David, Nick, and Jeff. Good to see you four wonderful people here again today as normal. Today we're going to talk about meme coins and NFTs killing crypto. Inflation going down. Does that spell the end or the excitement for crypto? We have ownership in digital currencies in Turkey and Argentina skyrocketing, of course, because inflation is an inflation hedge. At least it is there. And Stanley Druckenmiller goes to the University of Spoiled Children, aka USC, and talks about the at least when it comes to Social Security. So we're going to start off with meme coins. Nick, what is going on, and why are they killing crypto?
Okay. I mean, look, there's the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Which should we get first?
I mean, the good is, like all memes, they bring people together. It's layered culture, right? It's really the highest form of art, I think, in this age. I think it's really clever. There's a lot going on. That being said, though, I think it shows you the power of community, right? Like people decide what money is. Whether or not it lasts, whether or not it really has utility, that being said. But what we've seen lately is we've seen again, like the liquidity, the ball under the cup move. The narrative, the meta, we've talked about this before, right? It's not alt season, it's not meme coin season. I mean, it is meme coin season, but it's just the new narrative. And the new narrative is now like NFTs are bleeding out. Bitcoin again, it's kind of again just I mean it's doing its thing, but it's really NFTs that are seeing the blood. They're down like 60-70% across the board for some of these, like even like blue chip PFPs. And yeah, a lot to blame to meme coins, but at the same time, you hear all these great stories. Again, Twitter's amplified. You hear the best and the worst. But you hear these great stories of people who would just like put in a little bit of money under Pepe coin, and like it's the new Shiba Inu, it's the new Doge. You have these meme wars almost happening, which is absurd. I mean, it's all silly, but it is where the money is right now, and it is having an impact on the market. I mean, that is the good is that people are really like profiting off of this, and they really put very little in and had conviction. The bad is that it's not great for the space long term. The ugly is that people, even friends and other communities, are kind of rugging people because they just make a coin, and it's like Elon coin or LeBron coin, and they trend a little bit on Dex tools, and it's an easy entry or Uniswap, and people end up getting wrecked, unfortunately. Like there, you have to remember, there's the buyer at the end of every seller, and somebody ends up being a bag holder, and a bag holder is kind of like a harsh way of saying community member, and that's what we have to remember. Meme coins are a risky thing, and
Yeah, because
not great.
for all
So
the
are you
people
saying
who put in $100 and don't have much to their name, and this was a big gamble to them, and it went up to 100,000 or something, and they cashed out.
nice?
That's
Yeah.
fantastic for people to get out of their monetary situation and improve. But somebody bought 100K worth of that, right?
Right,
Somebody else
somebody
is
left the
holding, somebody
top.
else put it into the pool, and it's not just rich whales that are losing the 100K on the other end. It's hundreds of other people. So some people win, a lot of people lose, and I think the interesting part is you're like Nick said, you're following the community, you're following the hype, the liquidity. You're just guessing at what's the best meme right now. Then there's no tech involved, there's no future plans, um, and there's only enough liquidity for one or two. So Pepe and then everything else launched and launched and launched. We saw this in 2020. There were a lot of meme coins launching, and more on my timeline, I've gone from yay, everything's going up to oh god, I should have only bought Pepe, and
Mm.
everything else has been, even if not a purposeful rug, there's not enough liquidity to
Right.
support all of these because everyone is in it to pull out. No one jumps in and says, well, yeah, Pepe coin for my kids.
Well, maybe I should get my AI going and develop a ton of memes.
Turbo
But that,
coin, somebody did that
okay,
with an
so
AI 2 weeks
so can
ago.
I
Okay,
can
there we
I
go.
elaborate quickly on that real quick,
Yeah, yeah.
Mike?
And turn your mic a
Put,
little towards you, dude.
yeah, sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Man, he's got a deep voice. A nice baritone
Yeah.
there.
Mike, can you hear me now?
So tell us, Nick, what do you got to say?
Yo, I can give you some romance novels.
Nice. We like that.
Listen,
Tokenized?
they're gated, that's for sure. But I'm not telling you. No, what? This is getting weird. Anyways, token gated. But the point is that like, what were we talking about?
Something about AI and meme coin.
Oh yeah,
Turbo.
turbo coin. So
Turbo coin. So tell us about turbo coins,
people.
Mick. What's happening with
All right.
turbo?
I actually tweeted this the other day. Two normal people that I work with. It was like, oh, I heard about Pepe coin. Oh shit, I'm gonna buy some. I was like, dude, it's up 500% this week. Probably don't. And he's like, it's on my thing. It's really big. The bubble's really big. And then another person was like, turbo coin. So AI, huh? ChatGPT. And I was like, listen, like that's like theater art, you know, like that's a person who documented the ChatGPT experience, which is really cool. It's bridging education again towards Web3. What I want to talk about in a couple weeks at
Oh,
21
I think
CL,
you
but
missed the detail there that they use ChatGPT to create Turbo Coin. They
right,
just wrote prompts. They had it write the coin and
he
then
only
do the
spent
marketing and do the pumping and not the pumping, like get out there and push it on Twitter. So it's
no,
that person managing an AI
the
new meme
prompt
coin.
was the prompt was I have $69 to spend, right? I have $69 to spend. Can give me a meme coin that has the best community that blah 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 blah. How do I do it step by step? So he invested $69 and within 2 days it had a $50 million market cap. I'm
It's
just
not
true
bad.
story. I made money off of it. Within 4 days it had a $200 million market cap. It got insane, crazy. The founder had a great YouTube video where he reflected on the whole thing. And again, it was a great story. It's a great origin story. It's like a decentralized version where like, let's ask ChatGPT what we think. It's not a DAO. It's literally like they're just like, all hail the AI, you know. And TurboCoin has kind of taken off as a new meme, which is interesting because it may have staying power just because of its story.
Yeah, I can jump in on the meme coin. I'll take the devil's advocate on this one. Yeah, like and I agree. I think like obviously we've shown the power of meme coins like Dogecoin, Shib. Like there's always one that kind of runs through the whatever, and actually
Right.
yeah, like kind of works. I think the problem is almost like if you look at the number, it's like lottery, right? Like essentially you're playing lottery on the blockchain. Like you're like there's no value there. It's more just like a very quick Ponzi to see who like, how high it will go.
Yeah, it's kind of
And
P versus P, right? Like it's
yeah,
really like
but the problem
well,
is like if you think about the math of it is like like only like mathematically only a small number of people can actually make money and most people will lose money. And so like if you think about like what's the effect on the market, like anyone who's playing in the market now is 85%, 90% of them are going to get hurt with it. And so probably be like, I don't really like that. But then the other part of it, I think, is the problem is that it's like if there's liquidity and it's almost like a soup bowl, right? Once you finish your soup, you take the bread and you kind of like mop up the rest of the
Oh,
liquidity.
nice visualization. Yeah.
There you go. There you go. I've been thinking about that. That's essentially what's happening right now. Like someone launches a meme coin, a bunch of people, whoever has money left in this market, like throws at the meme coin, the few whales at the top gather it up and then like rug the project. And like you're kind of like taking the market's money and like so that's why NFTs are crashing. It's because all those people who used to be buying NFTs and like real projects are now like onto this super crazy thing, which to be honest, like if it was like a carnival event, like if you could only buy like a certain number of chits
mm,
and you entered the like carnival and you knew that like these were carnival games you're probably going to lose but maybe you win like the bear or something like that's okay but like
right.
like this is actually like people's real money and then that like the way it's being marketed is quite yeah I mean it really is like invest a bunch of money and that's it like if you buy Pepe coin at
I
like
mean, like, but that's the
100K.
thing, like we have like a clips of us fading Pepe Coin 3 weeks ago with Law of the Saw, right? Like we're like, we're not gonna
No,
talk about the
I
sure
got
reason.
in and out. I made my 3 ETH. I was in on day 2 and out on day 4.
Well
But then
done.
it just
yeah
kept going. Like, what's going on? Like, that's what we're like.
yeah
My friend, I sent it to my friend. He's like, it has a $1 billion market cap. Like, Apple has a $500 million market cap. Like,
but that's
this is
exactly it, right? Once
Mhm.
that
what
peak
happened.
happened,
What happens
every
next?
meme coin, well, every coin from there on is going to peak before that and go down earlier, and then a little bit lower, and a little bit lower, and a little bit lower, and everyone will expect it to be like Pepe and get to a billion, and then all those people
Mm.
are getting rinsed. So essentially, it's like the one thing happened. I'm going to get the next thing. Nope, nope,
Mhm.
nope, nope, nope. I'm
Mm-mm.
broke.
No, you
So,
got to add
and
liquidity back in the system.
Yeah,
there's
So,
that.
just like
so
a
again,
carnival, right? Just a carnival. Like you go there,
I
you
think
have your fun, you leave with no money.
it's
Well,
roulette, guys. It's roulette. I think it goes back to the fact that it's not great for the
That is a
space,
good
right?
way of describing it.
It can't be good for the space.
Well,
I did
the
have,
other
yeah,
interesting side. Oh, I was just to say, most of these
sure.
do nothing, and I always said SHIB was going to, and all of a sudden SHIB developed an ecosystem, but it's still just a coin trading thing.
Mm.
Holding Bitcoin long term, people are doing stuff with it. Holding ETH long term, bull and bear people do stuff with it. Holding meme coins long term, you're hoping hype comes back. Nobody has a
But
Well,
reason. Nobody has a company invested
the
in it. Nobody's
memes,
developing on it.
I
the
think
baseline
memes
of
can
memes.
be. Oh, go ahead, Dave. Sorry.
Well, I think you're going to say the opposite of me. I would say like memes die out, right? Like we don't have memes that are like 10 years old. Maybe Doge is the only one because it has a coin, but like, so
Mm.
you're investing in something that like has been proven time and again to like lose value because it's
Hmm.
stale.
All right. Speaking of worthless, I had ChatGPT version 4 because I'm paying for it. Try to come up with a meme idea for Nick. It said when Nick Garvin said he's investing in TurboCoin, and just suggested putting a picture of a confident Nick surrounded by rocket emojis.
I already got it.
Oh,
I've been
Uh,
doing it while you guys speak.
Yeah, have you
Upper
seen his
interesting.
Twitter
yeah.
feed?
Well,
But
one
perhaps,
last point on that is the
It's
problem
not
with
safe
meme
for
coins.
work, though. It's not. Sorry.
Loopify or like one of the a Twitter account posted a 27-second video of exactly how to create a meme coin in 27 seconds. So basically the market is and then 10,000 people viewed it. So meme coins is just there'd be every like Jim, Bob, Francois coin, like
So,
like
Dave,
just
you're saying we're early, right?
oh, we're definitely early. You
Yeah,
want to
we are. Nick, we
you
have a
want to be
big
like Jeff
announcement
in and
coming
out on day
soon.
two too.
Big
that's
announcement
great.
coming soon.
All right.
Always early.
Speaking of being early or late to the party, somehow that doesn't relate. Inflation has dropped to 4.9% in April from 5.5 last month. That's it. It really was transitory. We're done, and now we're going to watch the S&P rise. And even though David doesn't believe it, the correlation of even though he actually probably has proof that he's right, the correlation is that Bitcoin and the light
Numbers.
continue to go up.
Yeah,
So
but yeah, I would argue it's
that's
not. It didn't drop there. It plummeted to 4.9% and
oh,
continues to plummet.
could you consider that a plummet? So you were excited by that
Yeah,
news?
sure. Yeah,
The
yeah.
stock
I mean,
market's happy
it's
right now.
gone. Yeah,
Hmm.
for sure.
Right.
We're in that weird intermediate zone where people are kind of like, yeah, inflation's coming down. That's exciting. Why is inflation coming down? Because a huge recession's coming. Why? Because we sold off all
Well,
the
we'll
stuff.
see. We'll see. We'll
Hmm.
see. I mean, the job growth was still up.
Quick question. I wonder, like, we talk about correlation a
Jobs are
lot on here,
lagging.
right? Like, yeah, we talk about correlation. We're in different points of the risk curve, right? Like in terms of like traditional stocks or sensible people. But do you think that there's a correlation between like what's happening now with these like very, very, very crazy degens, risk on, far on the risk curve, buying the top of every coin, chasing pumps? You know what I mean? Like, do you think that like in terms of like what we see with risk on and risk on assets, like we're seeing like a decorrelation because people are getting
Wait,
desperate, people are getting bored.
those are hold on. I think those are two very different things, though. I think the people degenning meme coins are not having conversations about long-term macro risk on and risk off
Probably not.
assets. I think
That one, yeah.
they fit the fact that they're desperate because you can't work a $30,000 job year or $30,000 a
Mm,
year job and make it and pay rent. You can't work a $50,000 a year job and have a good life in the States. So you can ape meme coins and buy lotto tickets.
But it's
right,
also
right.
it's like the echo of almost the pump. Like so Bitcoin pumped and Ethereum pumped and almost and per people at the water cooler told their neighbor, hey, this pumped. And then they're like, oh, this crypto thing's interesting. What's the new crypto thing? And like the
Right.
new crypto thing at this time is so it's almost like this is the echo of that initial pump. And then it's like, well, that money gets rinsed out of the system back into whatever, and then we start again. Because this isn't real alt season. Like you only see it concentrated on like this meme coin today and that meme coin today. That means it's very limited liquidity and it's just like it's just a fad essentially. Yeah. So
Mm,
it's not real risk on behavior. It's just degenning by a very small group of people.
right. Got it.
So one thing I wondered about with the inflation numbers is everyone looking 6 months and a year ahead and positioning because if inflation comes down, we rates maybe go up one more time, then they start coming down rather than the one thing no one's talked about is what if rates stayed at 5.5%, but they everyone talks about the inevitable Fed dropping it back to zero,
Yeah,
and
is it
this number is
inevitable?
coming down. Unemployment numbers are going up. It seems like the Fed's mission is on track, which if they're going to get back to 2% within a year, if that's your long-term outlook, then you think, well, then they're going to cut rates. Money's coming back. Let's get, because, right, why should the stock market and Bitcoin's up today too? even though the dollar
But
is
I
theoretically
think
stronger.
unemployment is coming down, not going up. I maybe just misspoke.
It is, but the long term hope of either bringing unemployment up or unemployment stays steady as inflation comes down.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sure.
I mean, I think I don't know. I can jump in it. Like if the problem is that everybody's kind of seeing there's like a floor almost. It's like, yeah, we're trying to bring it down to 2%. And then when it gets to 2%, that's great. And it'll just stop there and everything will be fine. But like
Right.
the problem is that it got so high because we printed too much money. And now we're pulling money out and everyone's betting they're just going to nail it right on the head. It's going to be perfect. But I don't think that at all, right? Like if you look at all the situation that's happening, money is leaving banks. These banks are collapsing. What do those banks do? They lend money to small business, to construction, and things like that. And so yes, jobs are still there and coming back, probably because people are running out of money from their quiet quitting or whatever it is. Who knows?
Right.
But irrespective of that, jobs are kind of the last indicator, and housing. Once housing stops being sold, which is kind of already happening as well, then you have a problem. The problem is that like what the Fed is doing, what everyone is doing is slowing down the market. And what they used to do is pump money into the market to kickstart it. And so the bet is, okay, what's going to happen when it starts to crater into a recession or a potential recession? Hard landing is coming, let's say. What will the Fed do there? Are they going to hold rates high or are they going to cut them? The market believes they will cut them. The Fed says they're going to not cut them. But, we see what happens. If they don't cut them, though, then yeah, the recession for sure happens. But I don't know, it's almost that's coming to my last point, which is kind of like eventually you need to have a recession.
Yeah.
That's kind of part of the market cycle. And we've been putting it off.
Well, yeah, historically it has, but this has been a weird cycle. I mean, you still, again, you have you still have job growth.
Yeah. Well, yeah, the whole cycle all the way from like 2008 has been weird because every time like the recession starts to come, which is a natural part of any cycle, we just juice the patient with more money and it comes back to life and like does a bunch of dancing and like invents venture funds. But like it's hurting him because what's happening is when you juice money, you just put it in a lot of places. And bad businesses, the ones that are now going up belly up, are supported through that. And when they go belly up, they can't just be taken nicely out of the system. They go belly up like First Republic and it requires hundreds of billions to like bail out and all this other stuff. So there's a lot of danger under the system.
So I want to jump
landed
on that.
On the T, but
we got to move on at some point.
Yeah,
we're starting low on time.
I was going to say, jumping on that, you're talking about the money printing going out, and my article today is looking at Bitcoin ownership in Argentina and Turkey. And as we know, Argentina's had 104%, Turkey's 50% inflation year on year, more than the 4.9. And the last couple of years, they've had tons of inflation on their currencies, and they own more Bitcoin than other countries. More people own Bitcoin in those countries. And I was looking at that, and really, your option, and we always say this, well, you could own dollars and there's the world kind of reserve currency. But if you're in those countries, you can't necessarily have a dollar denominated bank account. You can't necessarily have a foreign bank account with dollars in it. Not everybody's in that position. You can self-custody Bitcoin. Right. So recently we talked about BRICS and those countries using less US dollar. Yes, USDT
is
but
better.
But my question about inflation now is all of these other countries that were holding USD and USDT to do trade, and we've talked about the last couple of weeks of the BRICS countries starting to use yuan and other currencies. If you don't need to hold as many dollars as a foreign country, and they come flooding back to the US as we print money and money comes back home, it's kind of that there's so much supply, we're going to have that inflation. And today inflation went down, Bitcoin went up, S&P went up. And logically it would say the dollar inflation is coming down, people are fleeing risk assets, but it seems like all of this is working together to just put us in a situation similar to them. Like it might have been not possible before the rest of the world started slowly giving up the dollar, but I feel like we're in that slow slide of, even as an American, what's my safe asset? And Bitcoin's on the table as self-custody.
Do you think it's also?
Yeah, but it's still tied to the dollar, so why not just hold the dollar?
But also, like, let's be honest, like we've seen banks go under, right? Like this is kind of like not normal, right? It's funny because it's all starting to kind of like fall apart. And David, you had like an infographic, right, earlier about like the bubbles of the banks or something. I don't know. Like there was like,
Yeah,
but
it's big. It's bigger banks rather than 5,000 small ones.
yeah, yeah. It's just interesting to see that like now it's like nobody really knows like where is a safe haven at this stage. And so self-custody is like the very beginning, like good to know at least. And then do what you must at that point. But like at least know that you can hold on to your own stuff instead of like being like Cyprus or being like Turkey or being like Greece, where like I heard about Bitcoin like kid you not, man, 2010 in on Facebook in Korea because my old head of school in Cyprus, Antonius like Papanopoulos, he literally like Greece was like going through things, Cyprus was like a big problem. He was there and he like bought into Bitcoin as a safe haven as their currency fell. And he was like touting it in this day and age on Facebook. And I was like, I don't know what this is. I'm in Korea, like, and I just like shunned it like an idiot. And that's my little like regret story. That's my pizza story because it was silly. Like he was literally saying like this is a safe haven for me because my currency is going up and down 30, 40, 50%. And I'm just
Not just that.
Well,
Cyprus at that time would actually like took people's money. Like
Yeah,
they ran out of
seized it from your
money
bank
and they
account.
just seized everybody's money. So like he actually
Yeah.
for sure
Oh, interesting.
used
I didn't
it
know that.
for its
Yeah.
purpose. Yeah.
Yeah, they have
That's
Lebanon
fantastic.
has, Greece has, Italy has gone into deposit boxes in the last 10 years. Countries are
yeah,
literally just stealing your money. So a bank is not safe and a dollar is not safe.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well, it
yeah,
leads
dollar
into
denominated
my
account, they just take it. Yeah, okay, let's move into what Stanley Druckenmiller said. He hangs out at USC, gives the big keynote at the Marshall School of
mm,
Business. That's a big deal, right? Is it?
yeah, well, exactly. I mean, big deal for USC probably because Drax, the legend of the legends. So, yeah, kind of backing onto what we were just talking about, like the value of the dollar. Until about when I watched this video, I would have probably gone against Jeff's perspective on that and said, yeah, no, no, no. But actually, if Druck is short the dollar right now, and his perspective is this, like if you think about dollar hegemony in the world, like if you just put it on a big timeline, you say like, when was the best time in the world for like the American dollar? Like when was it like treated as like the best?
1946.
No, no, no.
Mike,
Um,
Mike knew it.
Oh, right
Mike
after
was
the war.
ready.
Right after the war. When Brett
The
was
loaded
yeah,
question.
sure.
became the
It's
currency.
When,
yeah,
when the world was doing tons of business in 1946, yeah.
yeah, yeah. No, no.
Copper
It would have
was
been.
at an
It would have been
all-time high.
at the peak of the crisis in 2008, which was ironically caused by America. And I'm just making this. Maybe there's a chart that shows me wrong, but that's when everyone surprisingly were like, America's having a crisis. Why is the dollar so strong? Because people are flooding into the safest currency, which is actually having the crisis. Nonetheless, I would probably argue that was the peak. And then they started printing lots of money, and that wasn't really an issue for a while because everyone else started printing a bunch of money. And now we're at the point where inflation's up, and people are starting to question, and this is Stanley Druckenmiller's point, what is behind the value of the dollar and what is coming up for the value of the dollar over time? And they're starting, as you can see, the money flows to actually pull money away, and that's why the dollar is decreasing. You see the euro going up, and you see like other currencies going up versus the dollar, which is surprising during a time of, woe, but that's what's currently happening. DXY is down from 112 all the way down to like 10. They might be breaking 100 sometime soon. Anyway, that kind of shows you that people are trying to leave the dollar for other currencies. And so for whatever reason it's happening, it is starting to happen. So Stanley Druckenmiller's perspective on this is that the US has overplayed its hand quite a bit in like telling people what to do with the power of the dollar, but then also it's overplaying its hand currently on the future of America because Social Security is something that no one will touch. It's the third rail of government. And Social Security is super interesting because back in the day, in the Industrial Revolution, Social Security was introduced in order to help people who are factory workers leave the factory and have a living after they left the factory. And it was actually introduced as a way for only helping people who needed it and actually to try and make the factory more productive so the old guy would get off and a new guy would come on.
Sure.
Over time, it has
Like a
become an
software
entitlement. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So, because before that, people just went to poorhouses and that was
Right.
unsettling for society. So they created Social Security to help that
Yeah,
out.
they didn't live long either after they retired.
Precisely. And so now the situation is completely reversed. It's like it's an entitlement. I deserve this, and I'm living almost as same amount of time I actually worked, but the same amount of money is in the system. And so is literally no way that this can work. And so the current
Well, yeah, you just fund it.
Well, exactly. This is his point, right? So you currently fund it, and the current funding of seniors, Medicare and Social Security all in one basket currently is about 68% of the America's GDP is spent on this. By 2040, it will be 100%. Just those. You throw out the army, you throw out anything else.
You must be tossing in Medicaid, Medicare, and Medicaid.
Medicaid, exactly. Those both combined.
That's how you get to the 2/3 or so. Okay.
Exactly. And so what you're looking at there is a Social Security system that is growing exponentially. And what can you do? Well, you can have your millennials try and earn more than their previous generations to fund that, to kind of beat it back down. Or you can cut spending, or you can raise taxes by dealing with this very issue. But both parties can't touch this issue because it's the third rail. Like Republicans kind of touched it a little bit recently, got super burned. Neither one can do it. So what do? You print money. So the countries around the world see this and they're like, well, basically you're kind of this time bomb on your hands. And what you're doing with it is essentially inflating your currency, just printing more money. So long term, I don't trust that. So I'm going to start doing my own stuff with my own currency. I'm going to start seriously thinking. So that's where you start to see this like expanded BRICS, Saudi Arabia, et cetera, starting to come together, because the American dollar is actually losing its grip. Now, will it lose it very quickly? Will it not become the reserve? No, it still will. But the peak is come, one would argue, and it is now on the down low. Down.
I don't know.
Coming back up.
I look at the US to Euro chart over 5 years, and the peak was in July. It's like 2023, September 2022, and the euro went down since then.
The USD went down since then.
No, the reverse.
No, euro's gone down because people are fleeing to the dollar, but eventually we're seeing people stop using it to trade. If it's not being used, it sits there. If it sits there, the value. Well, that's the thing. People are going to the yuan, but no one wants to hold the yuan. You don't have
nobody wants to hold Chinese currency,
but they're doing it. They're trading in it, and they are holding it. So what do you go to that's safer and you can hold your own?
The Chinese currency is certain. It's a controlled currency. It's a pain in the ass to try and trade that currency.
It's not a positive. It's not like you can. It's not like you can switch to a system that's better. What he's arguing is that it will splinter in multiple systems that are worse. A depolarization of the globe, as actually people are like, you know
that
what?
Makes more sense.
Enough. You guys have messed with us enough. So us bloc, like Iran, the BRICS are already doing it, right? They're saying like, you guys have messed with us enough. Now we're going to create our own situation, and
right.
So Brazil, Russia, I can see China in the BRIC thing.
China, Iran, South Africa. Yeah, they added Iran and Saudi because Saudi and Iran are now doing business not in the dollar.
Yeah,
Saudis are selling oil not in the dollar now.
That is a huge thing. That is a huge thing to mention, actually. The fact that Saudi and Iran have worked with China to work out their differences, which is like a 30, 40, 50-year feud, is a massive
That is a big deal. I'll give it that.
Yeah.
It's also a 1,400-year feud.
Yeah, and it's not a positive thing for America at all, like, because that used to be America's friend and foe, and now they're both friends and not really with America and with America's foe. So the world order is changing for sure. It must have an effect on money for sure.
Again, it goes back to the same thing. No different than meme coins. We're just talking about scaling now. All right, we're talking about on a mass level.
So we
all you have to do. No, don't do Muhammad. But all you have to do is just make things that people resonate with, and they decide what money is. And you're going to get to a point where you have to understand the governments are going to take that tech, but the tech is innocent. It's the people who take the tech and do nefarious things, right? China can do different things with what you could do with an open source network, right? And the tech is not wrong, but what's going to happen is like it's going to go in the hands of like bad actors, and that's a bad thing. Doesn't mean it should set us back. It's just something to be mindful of.
Stuxnet would probably disagree with you on that one, but Symantec and all those antivirus situations, like what the? But yeah, no, I agree. But I would say that we are similar to America's gun issues, like allowing people to play with a very powerful thing that they can, without lots of training we're not providing them, and rules and regulations, do great evil with to each other. So Yeah,
Right.
it's a dog eat dog world. How much of the allowing of that do we allow, I guess?
All right, less
We
than
don't
2 minutes
teach
to go.
money. We just
Predictions.
teach people to accumulate it, and they don't understand what am I even accumulating.
Right.
Mm.
Right.
All right, 2 minutes
I
left to
get
go. We're down a minute and a half. Predictions for the future. We're supposed to be at 32 today. I say it every week.
I said 28.
Did you?
I
Yeah.
think I did 36.
Not bad.
But yeah, no, I'm re-predicting it
28-2 right
down.
now. Down.
I don't know. I'm in only meme coins right now. I have no idea. I just like I'm promoting a goat coin right now, Billy. So to the moon. I made an ET. Somebody in the here's my claim to fame. Somebody in the Telegram at 5:25. This is my dad, like multiple hat. Somebody in the Telegram said, "I'd love an ET graphic with Billy instead of ET." I'm like, done. And within 10 minutes, I did it. Like flipped it.
Nice job.
Nice.
Very well done. Okay, well, S&P's up a quarter, Dow Jones down a quarter. Interesting. Bitcoin up 2.7%. All right, we are running out of time here.
And Bitcoin
Gentlemen,
will be at 30K next Wednesday when I talk to you
30K
guys.
next Wednesday. And David
No way.
says it's going down.
25.
25. Okay. All right, I'll do 50% short and 50% buy.
There you go. Exactly.
I'm
Yeah,
just
you
gonna
can be
say-
neutral.
I'm going to hold and continue to not trade.
10%
Yeah,
memes.
advise this
10%. 10% memes.
There you go. All right, gentlemen, we will see you next week. What's this called? Big enough?
Do
for
that.
guys?
Sounds good.
5, 4, 3.